So let's move on to the next slide on this one. Again, your expertise, Danish.
Yeah. So as far as the medical device manufacturing is concerned, you have a different set of standards, which are like we have a quality management standard, which is different from the automotive ISO 13485. We have different testing standards when you test a medical device, like if it's an electromechanical device, you have 6061 series. If it's a mechanical, if it's then you have another transport testing. You need to make sure that if you ship a device, it really arrives at the patient's or the clinical site intact. You need to validate the packaging as well. So it's a bit different than the normal standard household products. So it should not happen that the device arrives at the customer, but it's not usable. Similarly, sterilization, that is the key point. We have been recently facing issues in the sterilization when we say, oh, we have sterilized it. It has sterilized, but this is not a standard sterilization for our product. If you do for the case ETO sterilization, you need to have a safety margin. Like you sterilize it, it should have degassed it before it moves to patients. The supplier cannot release it because it's the standard says you have to have these values. If they test it incorrectly, if it is in recently in one case we wait for 6 months to get it released because the ETO values were so high and it could not be released for human use. So sterilization is not so simple. We think that it's very simple, but it's quite complicated. You need to think about the sterilization. You need to plan the best sterilization method for your product. You cannot heat it, for example, or if you can't heat it, if you cannot boil it at 100 plus degree, then you need alternative like ETO. But ETO has other downsides that you have because this gas is actually lethal or toxic to the patients. So if you sterilize with it, you need to make sure that it has degassed it before it reaches the patients. And for the release, you already know for the QP release, it's called the quality in the pharmaceutical world. You need to have very tight inspections. You cannot release something until the batch is compliant to all the standards according to the specifications. So you do the testing while you are developing the device, and in some cases you do 100% testing before you release the final product. In our case, it's getting even more complicated because we have a drug device combination in our scenario. That means that you bring the drug into the device and you do so you have and in our case we have two worlds. We are like marrying two worlds. One is the medical device world and one is the pharmaceutical world, and you release a drug device combination product. It has a different world. I mean, it's differently regulated. um, Different standards are coming over, like you have a quality management ISO 13485 for a medical device, and then you have a standard for the pharmaceutical GMP standard. So it's getting even more complicated. So the crux of the story is that even the supply chain is not complex, but all that development life cycle of a medical device in this case is even more complex. That is the reason.
And that translates into your manufacturing processes. And for example, after sterilization, when that stage is done, the packaging and maintaining the sterility, that is also a key challenge because, like just like cold chain, you do everything and you make the product, put in the cold chain system, and now if something breaks down the road, everything is lost and it goes to the trash can. So that's the key. If you don't pay attention to the processes that maintain those requirements, you are facing losses. Exactly.
Yeah. Can move ahead.
We'll move on to the next slide, Danish.
Yeah.